All right, we are back again with another show. I am Marwan Cameron. This is The Conduit. This is Black Lives 360, Black History Month 2022. As, of course, you can see, we have Akuye and Marv again here today, and we're going to end this month of celebrating artists for Black history at the Bainbridge Island Museum of Arts with none other than Cory Bennett. So, let's give you an applause. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give it on to you, Akuye, and ask everyone how they're doing and jump right on into the show.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Akuye Karen Vargas, and we have here Mr. Cory Bennett Anderson and Miss Marva Jones. Yeah, so Marva, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing so good today. I'm excited about tonight.
Yes.
You know, we're going to be with young people tonight in Bremerton celebrating Black History Month and celebrating them. And I'm just excited about that.
Yeah. What about you, Cory?
Ooh, I'm always excited. It's Friday, sun is shining. I'll probably get busy in the studio, hang with my kids and my wife, and turn it up, always got to have the music going.
Thank you for that. Yeah, music gets us moving.
That's for sure.
So tell me a little bit about the work you do, Cory.
Oh, man. So many levels of different work that I'm trying to do, but abstract portrait art, trying to build up the iconic stories that I feel have influenced me as an artist and just as a human growing up in this time that I'm living in. And I feel so blessed to be surrounded by so many amazing people. So really, this is kind of my opportunity to dive in a little bit deeper and kind of find out what it is that I'm trying to learn. I think it's up to each individual person to learn something, and how can you better your day to day by what others have already been through and taught us.
Well, tell me a little bit. How did you get started doing art?
Man.
I mean, when did it start? When you were a baby?
I gotta get
when
that
you
all
were
the
just
time.
throwing stuff on the wall?
No, I think I've always had that creative mind since I was a kid. I loved taking things apart and like putting them back together. I think that was kind of like where my art started, but it wasn't until I was taking like general education in college that I stumbled on an art class, and a teacher just flipped the script on me and was like, oh, you know what? I think that's what I wanted to do. I was in high school, and my high school offered AutoCAD programming, architectural and design thing. And I was taking that and I loved it. I think what I loved was the drafting in a Photoshop. AutoCAD is kind of like that drawing program on the computer. And so I was like, you know what? I think I want to be an architect or do that. And then I was like, taking the classes. I'm like, man, you know what? I think I want to be outside the lines rather than in the lines. As an architect, you have a lot of things to follow. And then when I took my first intro to art, I found this therapy that I was given by just making a mess, doing that, throwing paint around. And I was like, calm, like this calm just washed over me. And like, I could sense just like by the way that I was walking and interacting with other people, I was like, this is what I want to do. This is healing, So that's something I'm trying to strive in. Every piece of art that I do is to encompass this positive intention that I'm putting into the painting with this abstract. Everything is possible. There are no boundaries. Don't get caught up because you're trying to do something. Just do it. And if you put the good intention in that, it's going to turn out good. Whether or not the final product is beautiful, in the moment I was creating it, I was present and I was having the best time of my life, So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. All this art here is an example of that. They've all been started with this positive intention. A lot of the times I incorporate others at that stage of making abstractions. So in my studio, I usually got like 8 or 10 pieces that I'm just compiling abstractions on. And I ask my kids to come in, my wife, my neighbor, I'm like, come in here and do something I can't do, right? Yeah. So I really enjoy that. I think that's one of the forefronts of what I'm trying to do with my art is to interact with others. And
so, Cory, I heard you say that, it kind of was something that you were attracted to as a young person. Marva, you work with a lot of young people. How important is this type of opportunity to be creative and express themselves through this art form?
Well, it's so great to hear Cory speak of being natural and it's really nice to hear him speak of being free and that how he discovered it. And there was some teacher that promoted this positive experience for you. And so when I see young kids at 3 and 4 drawing, and when it's to stop and they don't want to stop, and you can see all the different paintings they created them on their own, and they didn't have to draw inside the lines. That's why I feel like coloring books are wonderful, but I think they hinder kids from being creative and being spontaneously in their art. And like you said, it's like a therapy. It calms those children. So when I see kids are engaged in art, I just sit down I sit down next to them and just ask them, tell me about your painting. What do you feel? And so a way to express themselves. And some kids do well when they can express themselves through art. So my goal is that parents are hearing you today and being able to say, color in the lines, or that's messy. When you don't do it the way they want to do it, that's how they see it. But what we do know is that children all have different gifts, and a gift of art is special. And so I think that when I see kids, I just allow them to express themselves freely and don't comment negative on their art. And hopefully that they discover that, like you did, that it's a gift.
Yeah, that's good.
So Cory, you said that you bring in your children and friends. Tell me, you know, what they're, you know, when you're inviting them into that space, you know, how do you see a transformation?
Oh my goodness, people just light up. They do. They just, you know, especially when I get the spray paint out, or a medium that they don't get to play with that often, you know, or might be like taboo, like, no, you can't play with spray paint, or some kids just light up. So we did a mural in Friday Harbor most recently, and, you know, about the second or third day in the process, we offer to open it up to the community for a couple hours, come out and help us out. And usually we're like, make some handprints, make some texture, or write your name on the wall. And kids, they go nuts. They're just like, oh, let's go. Just like making a mess, doing what they love. And it's really good. So I see that in my kids when we come into the studio. I collect, usually the first step of my paintings are mixed media. I use a lot of maps, vintage articles, maybe
we noticed
a
that
sheet music from a song that's inspiring me. But, you know, that's kind of like that therapy of it being a journal entry. What am I going through? And then I take my kids' schoolwork and I rip it up. We rip little pieces out and we put that into the artwork and stuff. And so, you know, it's this level of recycling and repurposing that I think is important for people to realize. You can make art with nothing. You know, you have everything you need. You know, you can make the Elmer's glue and just start gluing that stuff on board, canvas, whatever. And that's usually a very therapeutic stage. And then from there, I usually will, again, go back to the abstract side and let them do the painting and stuff like that. And yeah, they just light up.
I'm glad you're talking about it, because, you know, we've been meeting with our young people, and at the end of the year, we did Healing Our Heart. And it was all with art therapy. How important is it during this time that we are isolated, confined during COVID? Our kids are feeling a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress and depression. How important is art in this process of being able to move through some of those challenges?
Oh, it's huge. I think personally, I know for me, inspiration is one of those things you have to work at. So every day I'm doing these certain steps in my day to make sure that I'm feeling inspired. You know, I can walk around and do some art, stop the art, get right back to it, because I have these things. So, you know, I think the ability to do art is so good. For one, it's working on something that you can't mess it up. You know, there's a lot of intention and a lot of people are shy about certain things, like, oh, I don't want to mess it up. But, you know, this is that opportunity to mess it up, make those mistakes, learn it in something that doesn't affect anybody, you know. So I think that's good. And then again, it might give you something to wake up for, you know. Maybe that's all I got to do today is just a little bit of art. I know in my personal art, the only mistake would be to do nothing and just stand there and look at it or something. So I'm always just trying to add more and more. And I think it's a huge reason why I can smile throughout my day, is just knowing that, hey, I'm about to 10 more minutes, I'm going back to paint again, you know? So that's been great.
So, you know, I look at your art, and your art is so inspiring, and it also carries a message that you're communicating and sharing with us. And how important is what I would call art activism in your pieces.
Yeah, it's like, even if it's just something that gets you to think differently.
That's right.
I mean, my goal would be to have people come through this exhibition to see it and then leave still thinking about it, and maybe it manifests something in their life on a positive note. I know in my personal experiences, it's been the face-to-face experiences I have with my family, and my family has now become my neighbor and my friend down the street. So I'm trying to do those things on a personal level, like getting them involved. I can go to their house and check in with them and be like, hey, why don't you come over for a minute? It only takes 10 minutes.
Okay. So do you think we can actually build community through art?
Definitely, 100%. I think that's what we're trying to do with our community project over here, is that thought that, I can get something started and I can go through the process that I do, because I'm that process artist, right? I have these steps that I like to follow, but when I invite somebody else into it, they're going to do something that is probably not in my process, so it allows us to reach a new group that I could not reach alone, so if I open it up and I allow my neighbor or my friend to come and participate in it with me, now only have we created something together that we can feel positive and conversate about, or inspire. We have this platform in which we can talk about other things, while we're painting and stuff like that. So it's huge. And I've seen it mostly with the large scale murals that I'm doing, right? So the one in Paulsbo next to the Paulsbo Library on the Public Works building, we had over 150 people come and help on this mural, right? And Josh Fisher and myself, we applied to the Paulsbo city and said, we want to do this mural, and maybe we could get the paint donated. And sure enough, everything was taken care of, and people were just lighting up. And again, like we have this idea of what it's going to be like, and in the moment, people aren't necessarily doing that, but it's still great. Everything that is happening is happening for the reason. And it's been really good to see the new creation when I invite others into it to build the community.
Wonderful. Do you think art has the ability to break down racial barriers?
Of course. I mean, I think, again, anything where it's an activity that anybody can partake in, whether your age, your nationality, your race, your beliefs, your family dialects, and really mental issues that you're going through and stuff like that. We are all going through something. And I think the number one thing is compassion, and when you start doing a community project, you kind of put that stuff to the side, and you're like, well, we're working on this one thing. And it really, if you can paint, that's all that matters. So that's great. And then again, in the act of painting, I'm like, so what's up with you? Like, how's your mom today? Like your kids treating you well. And so now we're talking about other things.
Are the kids treating you well?
Yes, they are. I have great kids.
Good. It's like, or, are you getting the love you need? Do you need to go to the store? Like, do you need something that I can help you with? Just asking those questions. And now we're not talking about art anymore, but we are, we're doing the art. So I think that's a great platform for anybody of any age or wherever you are in your life,
Okay, I love that. Yeah, I was just thinking about my own grandkids. I have a 6-year-old young grandson who makes me think of Mr. Cory. And then I have a 9-year-old and I have a 10-year-old. And I notice whenever I don't see a lot of painting at their homes, natural art, like that type of art at their homes. But a couple of times when I've taken it over to their house and I said, let's just draw. Let's just use paint. And a lot of moms are fearful of paint,
of course,
or glitter or those type of mediums. They won't use it. But I'm a preschool teacher, so I always think about using any type of messy activity, Play-Doh, slime. That doesn't bother me. Good. So, but when kids are engaged with it, there are lots of conversations.
Oh, yeah.
And I noticed that my own, watching my grandsons, and so I need to do more of that. I haven't done it as much as I like this since the COVID is going on, but I think starting today, tomorrow, I'm going to bring more of that into their environment.
Great.
And enjoy it with them.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Arts therapy, even the colors.
It is. Oh, I love colors. So I think there's the oldest one is 10. He's not as interested in it as the other two, but he does engage in it.
Yes.
It's easy to participate.
Definitely.
And that's what I'm going to do for them. I'm hoping parents out there will provide children with more of that opportunity to just be free and provide the mediums.
Yeah.
You can go outside and do it as well if you're concerned about your table, your floor getting dirty. But I just encourage parents to allow their kids to explore with art.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I'm glad that you said that, Marva, because a lot of our kids, especially our disadvantaged young people, don't get the opportunity.
Yeah.
So many of them have never come to a space like BEMA, have never come into a space where they're allowed to be creative.
Yeah.
And how do we create those type of spaces and opportunities for our young people to step into that space, to be able to find themselves, find opportunities to create and imagine and go on this journey of creativity? How do we do that?
I guess you have to be aware. It has to be an awareness first that it's important to a child. And then once you recognize that, you can go to the park. You can always paint on, grass, or you can find a place in your community that will be that will accept you creating maybe a small mirror in their space.
Yeah.
Just anywhere, so open-ended.
Yeah.
There's no end to it.
Yeah.
So just go anywhere. You can even just encourage your child to just do an art for a relative, somebody that's sad, and do a happy piece of art. Zyler has done that for me plenty of times, and then I hang it on the wall.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to say is that when they do art, find a place and space so they can hang it, and you could revisit that art piece and talk about how they felt when they created it. But I think if we just open our hearts and our minds, I think more kids can have that experience to be able to just be creative in art.
Yeah, definitely. You know what I do? I got collect the cardboard. I love cardboard.
Oh,
Something about cardboard, I can't get enough. So I'm like, I get a big box in the mail, or like I see a big box, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get that.
Okay.
And then I kind of cut it up, like a break dancer would have his cardboard box. He can break dance any way he wants.
Okay.
So I carry this in my truck, and then I have my little briefcase that has maybe like 2 colors, some chalk, just like these tools that I like that are easy to use. And then we're at the park or something, I pull out the cardboard and I lay that down, and then the mess is contained. And then typically I find in my studio, the best pieces of art are the pieces of material that you don't care about. You're not trying to do anything to it. It's really just like your catch-all, right? And those pieces turn out to be the most brilliant because you haven't given it any thought, right? You're kind of neglecting it, but it's still getting paint, so.
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah, that's why in my studio, I'm always working on a ton of at least 8 pieces where I can just set my brush down. No paint is wasted, right?
Yeah, no paint wasted.
Exactly. And then once that cardboard box is full, then I rip that top layer off, and then I'm putting it in my sketchbook and on other paintings.
Well, you sparked something for me.
Okay.
For me too.
This is very, one of the things I say is how, I want to talk chalk. Let's do some chalk talk right here. Chalk is something, it's a medium that all of our young people love chalking it up.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But, we've got spaces. Why don't we create spaces for them to chalk it up?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
then have some chalk talk.
Totally. And again, it's the awareness thing. Like, if people aren't aware that people want to do this, then they're not going to really take the time to make the surface for them. But again, you go outside and you just see like 20 people drawing on the sidewalk. You're like, oh, I'm going to sit here. So, it's these things. Just start today. If you want to be a master at something, you got to start today. I didn't start painting until I was, let's say 17, 18.
Right.
And then every day that I paint, I get better, even if it's just 1 or 2 brush strokes. And really just the mindset. Now when I'm closing my eyes, I'm envisioning myself painting and doing this. And that's all therapy for me. And, so if you want to master something, just get started. Just get started somewhere.
So you're talking about really being intentional.
Exactly, definitely.
Okay, with a purpose.
With a purpose, and it's just so easy to, especially these days where you can go watch somebody else do it or something, but like, I'm going to do some more research on it and I'm going to contemplate it and do. No. just go get started. Like learn by doing is the thing I like to think about.
Talk about that, Marvin. Learn by doing.
Well, I do know there's a scripture that says, even a child is known by his doing. And so when he said that, I was thinking that what sparked him, it was that, Karen, you know, we work with a lot of children, and we must this summer, this spring, do a art awareness with young people.
Yes.
And finding a place with chalk or whatever mediums we have in our possession. And
Yeah,
spray paint
yeah.
would be
Yeah,
woo
yeah, they love it.
because I know a lot of kids haven't used spray paint. They're not even allowed to buy spray
Of course,
because of
the vandalism side of things. But
but I was thinking, Karen, we could just go somewhere and bring our cardboard boxes and papers and mediums and just say, you are welcome to art today. And then the good news would be the child that discovers the gift, because I think that it was always inside of you as an artist to be able to do the work that you do, but you didn't discover until you got into older, where it would be nice that kids can begin to discover that art when they're even younger.
Yes.
And become great artists at age 10 and 11, and teaching them how to, giving them tennis shoes, white canvas tennis shoes, and create art on that.
Yes.
Anything we can think of, we'll find it, put it in a bag, and that day just lay it all out on the grass and put some paints and mediums, say, go for it. And let's just watch and observe as adults and find, and we'll, at the end of this, Karen, I know we'll see a child that says, I love this. I'm passionate.
Yes.
And then we can speak to the gift.
Yes. Speak
and
to
there
the
could be
gift.
success.
We want to speak to the gift.
Speak to the gift.
Yep. And you are the model for that.
You're the model.
Speaking to the gift. And so because we have an awesome opportunity to begin to cultivate and transform what our young people are experiencing right now. They're really not in a good place. And I believe art can be the catalyst for moving them to a place of health and wellness. And that's why our focus this year will be on art therapy for our youth empowerment conference for spring break, the whole spring break, immerse them into different mediums, whether it's movement, whether it's music, whether it's the art, whether it's all of those mediums, to be able to set the table for them and create an opportunity for them to move into that place. So I'm excited I'm just excited about visiting with you. So you hype it up because it's happening. And so, one of the things I admire about you, I was watching, because we were just in the studio and in the different spaces, and we were watching your videos. And how joyful and playful. And that was something that really just inspired us to say, how come we don't play like we used to play?
More like that.
Yes, more like that.
And those of you that have not seen his video, as Karen and I was watching his video, all of a sudden he was painting, and then he just went outside in the open field and just fell back into the grass.
Definitely.
And I thought, wow, how free is that?
Yeah.
I want to be like that. You know?
Well, it's those intentions, right? You get outside, you visit with your neighbor, and it's modeling those good intentions. And then I like to come back to the studio after feeling that, and then try to paint again with those positive vibes.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Well, it was so funny because I was on going to the store yesterday, and I read an article, and it talked about our youth today, or children today, has experienced a lot of anxiety and stress, because most of the walls, places the walls does not have a lot of light. And so they were talking, there was an article in yesterday's paper talking about the mental health of our young people. And part of it is because they're not getting enough outside play, or playing with a purpose, just playing, whether it be clay or Play-Doh, or using popsicle sticks, just to do whatever they feel comfortable doing. And so because of that, that's one of the reasons why they're experiencing this disconnect with the families. because they're in their room, they're playing videos, they're playing all type of games, and most of the time they're in the dark.
Yeah.
And so they're not getting that fresh air, that fresh mindset on just being creative.
Yeah.
And so that's why we see a lot of kids, want to commit suicide. We've seen that,
Yes,
Karen.
yes,
Kids
yes.
wanting to kill themselves, or kids are withdrawing because they're not getting out and expressing themselves. And this weekend our goal is to which is tomorrow,
Yes.
is to do not art therapy, because we're not a therapist, but to or engage with the homeless and provide some type of art for them, because a lot of them are experiencing a lot of mental health issues as well as adults. But maybe that's something we can do, Karen, is maybe find a place on the street and just put some chalk and just let them draw
Yeah.
whatever they feel like drawing.
We have a lot of opportunities to reach our community and to be able to have our community to express themselves. And one of the things that we do with the G team, meeting with Marva and the team that comes together and it's about giving back. We always, with Living Life Leadership, we do trainings down in Minnesota with the young people, but they always have to do taking it back home. And what they're going to do within their own community to help their communities and to be able to bring their community, take an issue in their community and elevate that issue and bring information, education, and then how you're going to make change with that.
Definitely. I can contest to that. I have a beautiful young soul, a little bit elderly, that lives next door to me. Okay. And she's so vibrant and bright, but she has knee problems and she doesn't get to go outside as much, so I try to go over there and say, hey, you want to talk in the sun or by the window or something?
Yes.
And those getting outside and just being nurtured by Mother Nature, I think people forget how important that is. That is a part of your family as well, get outside and try to make our earth a better place to live by community, but also just by being present outside. And so, I would agree with you. Get that vitamin D.
Yeah, vitamin D is important. It's vital. Well, let me say this, Cory, because I wanted to ask you about this. If you had one message you would like to leave with young people, what would it even be?
Oh, man, love. I think, you just got to love yourself. It's step number one, right? Love something that you're doing in life, right? And love the people around you. I mean, that usually I say, if you're unfeeling unloved, go give some love. You gotta give love to get love.
Speak that
thing. So I think that would be the number one. So that's why I'm always trying to live on a high vibe and be kind and give people hugs and high fives.
That's what's up, Cory.
You never know what the little things can do,
What about you, Ms. Marva?
I feel the same way he feels. I always say when I'm sad or I'm feeling some sense of not feeling a sense of belonging.
Yes.
Then I start telling myself, well, go get somebody else some love. Or go get someone else a hug. Definitely. Or call someone. Yes. I called a young lady today as I was, before I got here, and I hadn't spoken to her in a long time, and I called her up, and she and I had the best conversation. And I thought, wow, it feels so good. Yeah, and before we left the phone, we talked about calling one another again and showing love. I love you. I miss you. Hey, I'm coming to Atlanta. You in South Carolina. If you're in the area at this time, come and see us. We're going to do a party for my granddaughter who's graduating at Clark University in May. And so we had this great conversation about love and caring for one another. And I left feeling a sense of belonging. I wasn't sad anymore. I felt good. I felt good about coming here, meeting you, and about my whole day. We got a long day. We probably won't get to bed tonight until 1:00 in the morning because we have another event today. But you know what? When you give out, reach out, you get back more than you think. And so that's why I'm in such a good place today.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about a little bit about that Cinderella soiree that we're having tonight. And we just wanted our young people that have been isolated and kind of just, shut up,
Yeah.
to have an opportunity to come together and to fellowship and to have fun and all of those things. And we called it a Cinderella soiree because, one, we got to be out of there by midnight. We
Yeah,
got
by
to get the
midnight.
door by midnight. And we got to get to running. But we also thought about Cinderella, how she wasn't included, how she wasn't a part, even though she had a family, she wasn't appreciated or valued, and all of those things. So I thought about that, and I said, well, we need to have a Cinderella soiree.
Beautiful.
That's going to pull, and invite and let our young people feel good, and if they want to dress up, whatever they want to. And so I thought it was important that we created that type of space for our young people.
Laughter.
Laughter.
Get loud, laugh.
I'm excited
smile,
about it. Just laughter.
A belly laugh,
That's And tell me about this piece right here.
Oh, yeah.
Cory.
Gotta love American Delight. One of my favorite pieces, just trying to, again, collage in a bunch of beautiful papers that I've collected over time. Usually I collect maps of places that I've lived or been inspired by. So this one has Southern California and Washington highlighted on it. And usually with all of my paintings, deep down, you see something that you probably wouldn't see from far away. Far away, you're going to see this beautiful portrait that's going to bring you in. And then as you get closer, you start to see these small details.
Right.
And, that kind of represents...
Like those little dots up there.
Okay.
I just noticed that.
Yeah, heck yeah. This is the fine details, but it kind of goes back to this saying, from far away, you can see a lot of beauty and things. And then when you get close, you realize some of that beauty is the hardship, or it's this certain experience that at the time maybe wasn't great, but now when you're looking back at it, you're like, you know what, that's what makes me. And that's what is really what I'm trying to highlight in a lot of the portraits that I paint.
Wonderful. Now, who's the young lady?
This is kind of actually an ambiguous face.
Okay.
That kind of just represents a feeling more than actual events that may have occurred.
All right.
So a lot of the paintings I do serve as reminders, I think living with art is such a big thing. A lot of people don't necessarily have paintings hanging up in their house.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in my house, it's a museum of sorts as well, And I'll wake up and I'll just stare at this piece, I'll lay in my bed and I'm just staring at this painting. And every time I'm seeing something that I didn't see before, or something takes on a new meaning. And so that's just beautiful. Yeah, I love that.
Well, let's move on to this one here, because those lips are talking.
Yes, exactly.
What's going on there?
Yeah, this is another kind of like ambiguous face, but that just kind of holds true some of these thoughts that I was having in this certain moment of time when I painted this. So the map highlighted on this one is San Luis Obispo, where I feel like I had a lot of growth as an artist and as just a young person trying to get out and find out what I wanted to do in life, So when I look back at this, I remind myself that, life is about making music, making something that is beautiful and not focusing on the negative, the war. So, focusing on what you want, you're more likely to get there rather than focusing on maybe the things that are holding you back or some of those darker things.
One of the things that, as I tried to say, okay, what's going on? Let me see what's happening here.
What's your thoughts?
And I said, why did you use the word bond at the bottom?
Yeah. See, it's kind of like one of those things that I think words are so powerful in the fact that it's kind of like music, right? Someone might write a song feeling a certain way, and then you hear it, and you're feeling a total different way. So that music's affecting you in whatever light you want it to affect you, So I put that word there for my own personal reasons. But then I notice when a viewer sees it, they make their own connectivity to it. And I think that's a big part of my art. It's open for interpretation. It is abstract, and you can make it your own.
And what caught my eye, I could see like these little crosses throughout it.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I use a heavy texture of a wood putty mix, and then I use a palette knife to kind of like create these grooves, almost like you would find on a record or something, And I've always just loved that mixed media. You really want to touch it. When you get close to these paintings, and you're like, ooh, I need to touch this. What is going on here? It's a lot of texture, and I think that goes back to just the aesthetics of art and how it can move you. That is my process a lot. And
so tell me about One Eye over there.
I mean, this is kind of like a reminder to me that Mother Nature, is so important.
Yes.
You know, it's one of those things that we often kind of forget. I don't know how you could forget something so beautiful that gives you life, but then yet sometimes you don't even think about it in your day to day. So this piece, you know, I lived with this one for a while, and every morning I wake up and the first thing that I thought to myself was, what can I do today to give back to Mother Nature?
To nature.
So, you know, going out in my garden, the first thing I do, you know, can I plant a seed? This is like spring, summer kind of vibes. And am I going outside with my family? Am I making memories with my family outside? What am I going to do today to really connect to that? So I think that's the importance of a lot of the art, is just to hold a reminder.
Because I was like, okay, you know, I'm seeing like a little like glacier with some waterfalls in there.
There we go.
Some fir trees. What in a deer? I'm saying, okay, what's happening here?
Yeah, and you might not see it at first glance.
That's I didn't until I got up on it. I said, okay, you know, like some little streams running through there.
Yeah, so it's nice.
So I thought it was just so powerful, you know, once I got up in it. You know, because you got to get up in it.
Oh, you have to, yeah. And again, like every time you look at it, you're going to see something you probably didn't see the first time.
Yes.
And, you know, it's really cool. This exhibition, it has such a diverse set of my work. You know, this side of the exhibition is really these placeholders to remind myself to do good and what are the things I'm trying to accomplish in life. And then on the other side, we're seeing more of these iconic portraits. For instance, this Coleman Hawking painting.
Okay, so tell me about some of the iconic pieces.
Yeah, I mean, jazz has just been a huge part of my life, and just like listening to music, and it keeps me going. And I had heard plenty of Coleman Hawking, and I probably never knew his name or anything like that.
You were just jamming.
Yeah, and so I teamed up with Jeffrey Moose here at the Jeffrey Moose Gallery on the island, and he's a huge jazz head, and he was just spouting all this great information, and I'm like, man, I want to do a series on jazz icons, a ton of amazing jazz icons from Seattle that have just really influenced me and others, and again, music heals. It really does. It's a therapy all on its own, and so I wanted to bring light to a lot of that. So in a lot of those portraits, you'll see maps that connect with them, maybe where they grew up, and also myself, and so yeah, you're seeing all kinds of my icons. And
so let's talk about the other gentleman that is way down the way.
Cal Jader over there. I think, so in elementary schools, like your favorite class is music class, right? You're like always, okay, we're gonna go to music class today. And I think my favorite was the xylophones. Or the bells, and you just getting to use the mallet.
Yes.
And my elementary teacher would show this video of Cal Jader, and it's just this. I think he's got more of like a Latin, Hispanic upbringing and stuff, but the guy just has the most amazing talent and timing and.
Some salsa.
Yeah. So then when I'm talking to Jeffrey Moose about this, he brings it up, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is bringing me all the way back.
It took you back.
Yeah, definitely. So
that's what's up.
And it's cool. A lot of people don't know that face. You know, they see it.
That's what I said. So you've been influenced in so many different ways with not just the art, but the music, the jazz. And so how important is the medium of art?
Yeah,
in all of its form.
You can use it in so many ways, especially in education. So it's great to use the art as an example. I got to team up with a elementary school in Seattle, and they kind of did this as an example. Let's all choose an icon or a hero that we have, do a little research about them, and let's try to get that into this painting, you know? So that was really cool to see all the kids doing that, also getting the art therapy, but also getting a little education about their heroes.
Yes. So, you know, we've been working on a project for a while now. It's called the Living Arts Cultural Heritage Project. And living arts, what comes to your mind when you hear that word, living arts?
Yeah, the art is alive. I mean, it's breathing. It's a part of us, you know, so.
It's been active.
Oh, yeah.
And it's movement right then, right now. We're moving. And you can see that in a lot of your art. I noticed that you also created a lot of superheroes, which my grandkids was drawn to that last Friday when I brought them out to the museum. And then I noticed that there was 2 boxes that you created art that's sitting on a table, and they were drawn to that, young kids. So, and it seemed real active, and they was interested in knowing more about it. So I just want to thank you for your wonderful gift
Yes.
Thank you.
that you allow me and others to experience and enjoy as we visit the Bainbridge Island Museum.
Yes, what a beautiful space.
Well,
man.
I wanted to ask you about the box with
Yeah.
Aretha Franklin.
Oh my goodness.
Now, what inspired
Yes.
that? And because I was
That's
like,
movement.
all right.
Yeah, it's like sculptural art has been something I've been trying to focus on and just trying to use something other than a square box or
Right.
something that has to sit on a wall. And I found I have a bunch of old art stuff that I've collected, and this was a piece that had just been in the studio for a while, and it was capturing the splats in the studio. You're flinging art, and it is catching some of the paint.
Okay.
And so I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, this looks really good. Let me continue. So I started painting on it, and really the message that came through was, she's just so powerful, right?
Yes.
Like we all know, even if you don't know,
And if you don't know, you will know, right?
And so
Respect.
this piece really, with all the coloring materials inside, the paint and the pencils, and these are all experiences that we go through that make us who we are, so we all are coloring boxes full of these experiences. And sometimes sometimes I feel like when you're growing up and you're going through these experiences, you're like, man, what, my life sucks, or like this situation is terrible, but you are in this world to make it better, and you are the person you're supposed to be, right?
You are the person you're supposed to be. I want you to talk about that, because our young people struggle with their identity.
Of course.
So, how do they find out who they really are? What's this search, and I think a lot of our young people, that's part of our development,
100%.
Trying to find, figure it out and find out where do we belong and where do we fit in, and, what's my purpose? I think that when we create these type of liberating, and I call it freeing and liberating opportunities, I think they have a way to burst that bubble, to burst the bubble of that type of thought.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just having the reassurance from your friends and family to remind you that you are special. Like there's no one else like you. Nobody can do what you do. And that's what I like about painting. I could make something ugly or beautiful, but nobody else is going to make it how I'm going to make it, Right. And so I think people just need to realize that you are very special.
Marva, you talk about that a little.
Oh, when he was speaking, I thought about tonight when we are among so many different children that come from different families, and we don't know how much they've been affirmed in their family about they are loved and that they are beautiful. So I was thinking how that's a way that I can communicate tonight to them that, you're just beautiful. You're just beautiful. Yes. And so I'm taking bits and pieces from Cory that I can use to encourage young people to love themselves.
Definitely.
So that's what I'm thinking about right now.
Child, I'm thinking about this Cinderella soiree, because the messages we want to communicate is the messages that you've communicated through your art. Breaking that impossible into possibilities. Cinderella was singing all about impossible, but the possibilities, to be able to create possibilities is powerful.
And she was chosen.
Yes, she was.
She didn't know that as she was going through the process, but she was end up being chosen by the prince.
Yes.
But the good news is that she was already okay.
Yes.
And so when she became the princess, she already had what it was necessary inside to be a princess, because she felt good about herself.
She was beautiful.
And she cared for those that didn't love her the way she wanted to be loved. And I'm hoping that that's what our young people can walk away with tonight at the soiree, is that no matter what family I come from, I'm good enough.
There you go.
Yes.
I'm good enough.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
And we can encourage to go out and spread that good love to other youth in the school.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's a message that they
I'm
can
hoping that
they can receive.
they lay it down
Yeah.
tonight, because when you set the environment for music and art and all kinds of fellowship and coming together and bonding and be able to create that type of environment that's very welcoming, I think we'll get a something that we never even imagined.
Definitely.
And
New
the
heights.
food. Don't forget the food.
Oh, don't forget no food.
We're gonna
We
have
were just
food.
thinking about it.
So Cory, tell me what's next for you.
Wow, yes, just looking forward to doing more community murals here in
Yeah,
Bremerton and
yeah,
Kitsap County,
yeah,
where we can participate with a good message and a good vibe. And that's definitely one of my focuses, and I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. A lot of commission work in the studio, which keeps me happy, and trying to get my family involved as much as I can.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so
You should write a book.
hey, I love it. Yeah.
You should write a book about art and encouraging children just to express themselves through art. Something simple.
Yep.
A book for K through 6th graders, because they're those early minds right there. We want to catch them as soon as we can when they're young. But something I was envisioning that you have written a children's book on art, and just be yourself. And your art inside the book is just expressive art, and it's open-ended. And give a little small history on what art is and your experience, so parents get, because there's a lot of parents out there, is like I said, is unaware of what art can. How art therapy or art can help their child become a better person or be happier.
Yeah.
And so when I go to the library, there's not a lot of books on it.
Okay.
So that's an area that you can tap into.
Yeah. Okay. Keep an eye out for that. That's going to be
That's
coming
right.
out. Yep.
That's right, Cory. And because we're talking about doing that visioning.
Yeah.
Visioning
Definitely.
forward. How do we vision forward to make it better for our young people and for our families? Because community, I always say community is only made up of our youth, our children, and our parents. And so that's the core of community. And so if we can help our parents and help our young people, I think we're doing it.
All right.
We're doing it.
That's what I want to
and
see.
art,
I want to be a part of that.
sure. And art is where it's
Yeah.
at. And so it was wonderful to hear you talking about the importance of bringing your family into this.
My pleasure. And then I did bring you guys a little something.
Oh, you did, Cory?
Just, you gotta have a little something. You guys can fight over these ones. There you go. Yeah. Just so.
Oh my God, I see this.
Something to brighten up your day, hopefully.
Oh, Cory, for real?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey.
man, I'm on it. You know what? Thank you.
My pleasure.
I
Heck
am
yeah.
touched by
Hang
this.
it up.
I'm gonna hang this in my kitchen. My kitchen
All
is
right.
yellow.
Child. Oh my gosh. You know, this is really a confirmation for me, because I've been for a few years now working on a project that's called Jazz Engineering.
There we go.
With our young people and what that looks like. And you got it jazzed up right
yes,
here. Ready for
perfect.
me to go.
I love it. Heck yeah.
Thank you.
Give me some
Thank
love,
you.
give me some
Oh,
love.
give me some love,
Mhm.
Cory. Get some love, Marv.
I have a little quote when you were talking. My little grandson is learning this, and it is from Frederick Douglass.
Oh my gosh.
It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men.
Yes.
So he was learning this all day yesterday, and I wanted him to know that we need to build strong children, and I think art will do that.
Yeah.
I believe that too, and I hope and I pray that your work will continue to inspire, that it will be a catalyst for change for our babies and for our adults as well, our parents as well. I'm speaking a word over you now,
Yes, I
and
love
be
it.
able to really transform our nation.
Yes.
To be able to bring us to a place of healing,
Yeah.
a place of reconciliation. And so I'm speaking that word over you so that it will come into existence.
Yes, of course.
And so
Do
we
those books.
thank you.
Yeah, I'm on it.
We thank you for
Yes,
all the
my
work that
pleasure,
you're
my
doing.
pleasure. Thank you,
And
guys.
we pray for your continued
Thank you.
success. Thank you, Cory.
Pleasure.
I'm
My
excited.
pleasure, guys.
I'm excited because I was looking at all your work last week, and
Yes.
every week I come to the Bainbridge Island Museum, and to have a piece of your work in my house, I
Heck
feel
yeah.
I do. You just made my day.
Perfect. I love it.
You made it
Barbara.
better. I was already feeling good, but
Yes.
you made it better. So thank you
You're
so
And guess
much.
what? Tonight we're going to
Mhm.
display your artwork
Yes.
at
Awesome.
the Cinderella
Okay.
Soiree.
We'll share with other
Well, yeah,
people.
let all the kids know. You can find me at Art by C. Bennett.
Yes.
Yeah, all around.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because this has been an amazing journey for us to be able to go through all your art here and just be able to understand some of the vision that you have for the art that you've created here, and you're sharing it with us, you know, as a whole. And so with that, we're just grateful and we're
Awesome.
thankful.
Yes, definitely.
All right, everyone. I hope that you have enjoyed the show today. This is definitely a special one. As we were saying in the chat, it's great to see it on video, but seeing it in person is so much more visceral and powerful. Lots of emotions there, lots of different thoughts and ideas. You know, it will be here. This exhibit will be here to the end of the month. So please get here. There is a special event going on Sunday that includes the Bainbridge Island Museum of Art. So that's a good day to come in. Great, if you just touch on that really
Oh,
quick.
yes. On Sunday, on the 27th of February, we will be having our community celebration for Black History Month. We kick off here at BEMA. We will be marching down to the pavilion where we will be meeting with Gilda Shepherd. She is a film director and artist, and she will be showing her film, Since I've Been Down. And then after that, we have a dialogue with her there with Miss Tara Simmons and with Mr. Carter as well, Comanche Carter. And so we have an amazing day. We will come back here to the Bainbridge Island Museum of Art. Well, Cory here, Mr. Bennett, Mr. Anderson will join us for the community celebration and dialogue with these artists, with our young people. So please come in and join us. And thank you again for all of your work, Cory, and thank you for your passion and your talent.
Spread it out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, and we want to say thank you to Marv and Okuye.
Yes.
Also, it is very important that this is shown, right?
Yes.
This is not only the present, but this is Black history. This is American history.
Yes.
And we won't know it unless we share it out.
Yes.
So I want to give you a round of applause for that. I was telling you earlier that they say that you're supposed to give people their roses while they're still here.
Yes.
And you can't get enough roses for what you do for the community.
Oh, yes.
Most people wouldn't even know about this, that this is happening. You were tireless. I went home yesterday, I went to bed, you know, and you called me and I was asleep. So you were tireless, but you do so much for us here in the community. You bring a lot of folks together. You do a lot of truth telling. Tom, want to thank you too. Tom is always by your side supporting.
Yes.
This is hard work, and a lot of times it's very thankless. And so I just appreciate you coming from me. And this is why it's a pleasure for me to come out and try to support it in any way I can. If I can do it, I'm here. So I really want to say thank you. We really appreciate you for that.
I wanna say thank you to Grow Together, Gather Together, Grow Together, and to you, Marwan, because this is the beginning of change. Change happens and begins with us. You know, one of the models that our Living Life Leadership students created years ago, they said nothing changes until we do, and they recognized the change had to start within themselves for it to be better for them. And so I thank you for being that spearhead, that catalyst for change for our community as a whole. And I thank BEMA for allowing us to be able to come in into these places and welcome us, and opens the door for us to be able to do this type of community building and really outreach and strengthening and building that beloved community that we all want. We all want that for each of our communities. And so I say thank you to you, Mr. Marwan. I thank you as well for all of your hard work and
Yes.
support that you've given Mr. Marwan. And I thank BEMA for all of the support they've given us as well.
Absolutely. We're going to go ahead and give Beema the Would you like to jump on camera? She hasn't been on camera the whole time, but she has been supporting us in every way possible. This is Miss Katie here. Just go ahead and wave to everyone. She's like, I don't want to get in front of the camera. It's like, no, my camera's 360. But it is very special, and you've been very inviting, and your whole staff stayed late last Friday so that we can do another podcast and highlight another artist.
Yes.
So we want to say thank you as well. We definitely appreciate you so very much.
Awesome pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we hope to see you on Sunday, 10 a.m. for the march. We will be leaving from Bainbridge Island Museum and then going down to the movie theater. So join us on Sunday, 10 a.m. All right, everyone. I am Marwan Cameron. For everyone here, this is The Conduit. We'll see you Sunday.